The air stank of scorched wood and betrayal. The kind of smell that claws at your throat and doesn't let go. My barmy grandfather's barn, with its sagging beams and chipped red paint, was gone. Nothing left but a smoldering skeleton under a bruised evening sky, the embers glowing like the last breaths of a dying beast. I stood there, boots sinking into the damp earth. My fists clenched so tight my nails drew blood. The HOA did this. Karen McAllister, with her clipboard and her pinched lip sneer, had made it personal. She'd warned me about that barn for months, called it an eyesore, a violation of community standards. I told her it was my land, my history, my right. Last night, someone torched it, and I knew exactly who. The fire trucks had come and gone, their sirens fading into the humid Georgia night, leaving me with the wreckage. My neighbor, Old Man Jenkins, shuffled over, his cane tapping the ground like a metronome of bad news. "Saw a couple of figures by your barn last night, Tom," he said, his voice low, cracked like dry leather. "Didn't get a good look, but one of 'em moved like they were carrying a gas can." His eyes flicked toward the McAllister house, all pristine white siding and manicured roses, glowing smugly under the streetlights. My stomach churned. Karen's husband, Greg, was on the HOA board too, a weaselly guy who hid behind her venom. They'd been gunning for me since I refused to paint my mailbox to match their approved color palette. I didn't sleep that night. The creak of my porch swing kept me company as I stared at the stars, my mind racing. The barn wasn't just wood, and nail sit was where I'd spent summers with Grandpa, learning to fix tractor engines, listening to his stories about Korea, his laugh rough as sandpaper. Now it was ash, and Karen's smug face burned brighter in my memory than the fire itself. I wanted to scream, to march over there and smash her perfect little world. But I didn't. Not yet. Morning came, heavy with the smell of dew and regret. I drove into town, the radio blaring some country song about revenge that hit a little too close. At the hardware store, I ran into Lila, the cashier who'd grown up on the same dirt road as me. She leaned over the counter, her braid swinging, eyes wide with gossip. "Heard about your barn, Tom. Folks are saying it wasn't an accident." She lowered her voice, glancing around like someone might be listening. "You know Karen's been cozying up to that new fire chief, right? Bragging about how she's got connections now." My jaw tightened, the fluorescent lights buzzing above like a swarm of angry bees. Connections. Of course. Karen didn't just want my barn gone, she wanted me humiliated. I spent the day sifting through the ashes, salvaging what I could. A rusted wrench, a half-melted horseshoe. Each piece felt like a punch to the gut. By noon, sweat soaked my shirt, and the summer heat pressed down like a judgment. That's when I saw her, Karen, strutting across her lawn in a pastel sundress, inspecting her roses like she hadn't just burned my life to the ground. She caught my eye and waved, her smile sharp as a razor. "Such a shame about your barn, Tom," she called, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "You really should have maintained it better." I froze, my pulse hammering in my ears. The audacity, the gall. I wanted to vault the fence and shake her until that smile cracked. Instead, I turned away, my boots crunching against the gravel. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. But inside, I was a storm rage and grief swirling together, each breath a struggle to keep it contained. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, a bottle of whiskey untouched, my laptop open. I started digging. Karen and Greg weren't just petty, they were sloppy. Public records showed they'd been skimming HOA funds for years, funneling money into landscaping projects that never happened. Their pool, that sparkling blue monstrosity in their backyard, was paid for with community dues. My community, my neighbors' hard-earned money. The realization hit like a freight train. This wasn't just about me. It was about all of us. I could have gone to the police, but they'd drag their feet. Karen's connections would see to that. I needed something bigger. Something that would hit her where it hurt. Her pride. Her perfect little life. That's when I remembered my cousin Eddie, who ran a construction company 2 towns over. He owed me a favor after I bailed him out of a bar fight last year. I called him, my voice low, steady, but burning with purpose. Eddie, I said, you still got those cement trucks. He laughed. A rough, knowing sound. What you planning? Tommy. I told him. He didn't hesitate. The next morning, I filed a complaint with the county, attaching every document I'd found about the McAllister's shady finances. Then I waited. 2 days later, Eddie's trucks rolled into the neighborhood. 3 of them, engines growling like beasts ready to pounce. Karen was at her precious HOA meeting, probably lecturing someone about their lawn height. Greg was out golfing, oblivious. I gave Eddie the signal, and the trucks backed up to their backyard. The first load of cement poured into their pool, a gray tsunami swallowing the crystal water. The sound thick and final, like the earth itself was laughing. Neighbors gathered, whispering, phones out, recording. By the time Karen screeched into her driveway, the pool was a solid slab, and the trucks were moving to her prized koi pond. She ran toward us, her face red, screaming, "You can't do this. I'll sue." I just stood there, arms crossed, the weight of the last few days lifting with every glug of cement. "You burned my barn, Karen," I said, my voice calm but cold as steel. "This is just the start." Her eyes widened, and for the first time, I saw fear, real fear. She stammered, tried to deny it, but the crowd was growing. Neighbors who'd been bullied by her for years, tired of her reign. Old man Jenkins stepped forward, his cane shaking. "I saw you, Karen. You and Greg, sneaking around Tom's place with that gas can." The air went still, the only sound the distant hum of the trucks. Karen's face crumpled, her perfect mask slipping. The police showed up an hour later, tipped off by the county about the HOA fraud. Karen and Greg were hauled in, their protests echoing down the street. The court case was swift evidence. Jenkins' testimony and the neighbors' stories painted a damning picture. The judge fined them $50,000 for the fraud and ordered them to pay for my barn's rebuild. Karen tried to play the victim, sobbing about her ruined pool. But the judge wasn't having it. "You reap what you sow, Mrs. McAllister," he said, his gavel cracking like thunder. I rebuilt the barn that fall. Every nail a small victory. The neighborhood felt lighter, like we'd all been holding our breath for years. Lila threw a barbecue to celebrate, the air thick with the smell of ribs and laughter. Karen and Greg moved away. Their house sold to a young couple who painted their mailbox bright purple, just to spite the old HOA rules. Standing on my porch, watching the sunset glow on the new barn, I felt Grandpa's presence, his rough laugh, his calloused hands. Justice wasn't just the court's ruling or the cement in Karen's pool. It was this, taking back what was mine, what was ours, and building it stronger than before.